What is up, filhos da puta Alert Nation?
Minecraft is the highest selling video game of
Borrei-me todo. Um bocado alto, não?
all time, and it's not even close. What was once a sketchy exe file that got passed around on image boards has now become one of the most popular games in the modern era, and that's pretty wild. Listen, I'm just saying, once you've broken into the Spirit Halloween level of mainstream, you've made it. The concept is incredibly simple. You've got an open world, do whatever you want. You can build, you can mine, you can destroy, you can run off into the distance, make a cabin, log off, and never come back.
It's pretty cool. Quem é que aqui gosta de Minecraft? Minecraft.
This virtual sandbox has grown so much and continued to have support for well over a decade now, so it's no wonder kids were and are still crazy about this thing. And adults too, apparently. Tell your friends you about a month on a dedicated server and they all start showing up. If you build it, they will come. Minecraft has had a lot of growing pains, but the one thing that doesn't get talked about much these days are the clones. The rip-offs, the open source ports, the things very clearly inspired by Minecraft. I mean, this thing essentially helped to shape an entire genre, the open world survival games that to this day are extremely popular. I think it's pretty obvious that you probably wouldn't have something like Valheim or Ark if Steve Minecraft hadn't paved the way. We're gonna be looking at a few different examples of Minecraft clones today. We've got ones quite literally ripping it off. We've got games that might function a little differently but also look like they might have just been a mod. And lastly, the ones to draw heavy inspiration from it. Let's just say if your game looks like this, it probably counts.
Where am I? I am so hungry, so thirsty. I can't believe it. I'm surrounded by water.
Something important to point out real quick though is the existence of a smaller indie, Infiniminer. This little block building and destruction game made by the guy who'd go on to form Zachtronics is often looked at to be one of Minecraft's inspirations. There's a lot of what ifs on what could have been with this, but only Minecraft has unofficial isekai novels sitting around in convenience stores. So yo, it's Austin, and today we're gonna be throwing open the gates to explore the new randomly generated world of Minecraft clones. If you go all the way back to its first early betas, Minecraft is nearly 14 years old, which is crazy. And since its release, we've seen a ton of games come out that are clearly inspired by or just straight up ripping it off. I hope you like voxels. There's lots of sprites, squares, cubes, and other things to smash together. But before we get started, this video has been brought to you by Manscaped.com for we need to tend to those rounder surfaces. Gamers are a patchy folk. I'm sure a lot of y'all might being a well-groomed. Minecraft exploded in popularity in the 2010s. A ton of clones began to come out of nowhere. Anyone with an Xbox 360 and access to the live knows exactly what I'm talking about. Prior to Mojang releasing this thing on consoles, heck, prior to the game properly releasing 1.0, this console was filled with ripoffs. It's weird to think that Minecraft was the first real early access game, launching as a paid product before it was anywhere near done. Heck, the thing sold over 4 million copies before properly hitting that 1.0, which is ridiculous to think about. The virality of Minecraft was off the charts, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that there were hundreds of people trying to replicate it. If you just look at open source ports, homebrews, and random people trying to hop on the trend, you can spend an entire day browsing these things. Manic Digger, Uberblocks, Minebuilder, Craft World, the list goes on and on. A majority of these are unfinished projects, and some of them even received cease and desist from Mojang.
Eu também não sou lá muito Minecrapper. Vocês gostam?
Generally, these super early direct clones aren't
Acho que é porque eu
too
não sou
terribly
social.
interesting to talk about.
Eu não sou lá muito
Mineblock 2D
social,
on
desculpem.
Java, DS Craft on the DSi, yeah, sure, they exist.
What?
I mean, most of them just look like they could be texture packs for the main game, and a lot of them fall behind mechanically, which I guess is what happens when you have several $1 million in the bank. However, a majority of these were on PC, so how about the consoles? Minecraft didn't officially hit Xbox 360 until May 2012, so thanks to the power of the now defunct self-publishing Xbox Live Indie Games label, a few notable clones would make their way into the living rooms. And I don't blame them for trying. At that time, Minecraft had yet to be announced for anything but PC, so they were filling in a niche. I mean, for a lot of people, these were their...
Calma, 2012 é super tarde. Quando é que saiu a PS4? Ok.
formative Minecraft years.
E foi no fim da vida das consoles.
Fortress Craft, a game that claimed it
Eu sei que saiu no PS3 e...
Yeah, okay. However, it does have the major difference of not having a survival mode. This was basically creative shoved into a neat little package. There were a few game types and patches added over time, but the main shtick was being able to make big stuff together with your friends. And you played your Xbox avatar. Sick. This apparently sold over 750,000 copies too, which goes to show there was a demand. And if for some reason you feel like playing it, there's actually a version of this on Steam now. Then you had Total Miner Forge doing the survival crafty miney thing. This one was about as close to its source material as possible. It actually had blueprints built into the world and game to teach you recipes, so you didn't have to spend time looking on a wiki. One glance at this thing, you might actually think it's a slightly modded version.
Esse é o tipo de coisa que eu gosto.
Version of Minecraft. I do, however, like the depth map. Thing was handy for finding certain minerals. Total Miner was pretty solid for, well, let's face it, basically a direct recreation of Minecraft. Castle Miner was another big release, and this one pulled a lot more from Fortress Craft with its lack of a survival mode. Simply go make stuff. This time with avatars. Over 200 blocks. These Xbox Live Indie games were typically very bare bones on features, which makes sense considering they usually cost less than $5. However, Castle Miner released on July 27th, 2011, a few weeks after Mojang officially announced at E3 that they'd be bringing their big boy to the Xbox 360, meaning the market for these microclones was about to up and vanish. This, of course, left Castle Miner developer Digital DNA Games with one final option, something that would end up selling over 900,000 units and becoming the best-selling Xbox Live indie game of all time. What happens when you combine Minecraft with the then quickly growing but not quite oversaturated yet zombie genre? Well, you get Castle Miner Z. Let's go. Those who know. The Xbox Live Indie Games program was shut down and everything delisted back in 2017, so unfortunately I can't show off my chunky Xbox avatar. But it did get a release on Steam where you can pick up a 4-pack for $8, so I went ahead and cursed a few friends of mine. Castle Miner Z is simply a combination Minecraft, Call of Duty Zombies, Taco Bell type of deal. It's also a reminder of how powerful nostalgia is. It lacks a few things the source material and even the clones have.
Detrás de mim. Isto agora está sempre a abrir no sítio errado. Ups. É engraçado, basta que... Basta que desligue o PC e ele faz overwrite. Deixa eu ver. Oh, filha da puta. Eu quero jogar os jogos da Devolver Digital. Parece que tem uma sale. Wait, hold on. Será que há opções? Será que Resident Evil 4 em si tem opções? Porque eu sempre que reinicio o PC ele muda. Será que é Steam? Turururu. Não parece ter opções. Olha, eu não tinha isto, podia pôr. Alguém sabe onde é que estão as opções de correr jogos? Não importa, eu vou correr o jogo. This sucks though. Ok, sharpshooter. É sempre a sharpshooter, meu. Sharpinho, sharpaulas, meu. Let's go. Remember that saving is free. Who are they talking to? Are they talking to classic Resident Evil players? Wait, está locked nos 60 FPS? Eu estou com o V5 ligado assim? Está ali, V5 ligado. Será que desligo? É que se foda. Can I catch Ashley? Anyway. He seems tired.
You know, I was thinking, we work well together, don't we?
I guess so.
Right? Maybe someday I'll become an agent like you.
Maybe.
What do you think? We could protect the U.S. from any and all threats.
Is that right? Well, either way, first we have to make it out of here.
You're no fun.
Is that right? I am deadpan. Well, since people don't really like Ashley, I can understand the deadpan. Acho que está fechado. Respira. Transporting the amber. I must stress the use of extreme caution when handling the amber deposits from underneath the castle. Work with the utmost respect and obedience. It is imperative that you do not disturb the holy bodies' slumber. Holy body, Lois.
This must be what Luis was talking about.
What was he talking about? I forgot. It's been some days. Uy. Las parasitas.
Prostrate yourself. This is our holy body. Our divine providence.
Lord Sadler?
Such profound blessing for all. Lost blood. Welcome, my children. I am Osman Sadler, the speaker for our Lord.
Tell someone who gives a shit.
Foolish lambs. Why do you deny grace?
Wow, he's keen as an eye.
Now, abandon your body. Obey. Obey the voice of our Lord.
This is some crazy
Not
mind
resist.
control.
Pray forgive these wicked sinners. My faithful disciples shall deliver to you your penance. Now, child, you need not be afraid. Submit your body and release yourself from fear.
She has excellent aim.
Sadler, you bastard.
You bastard. I'm gonna guess I cannot just open the door. What? I can? Dearest Lord Sadler, I'm overjoyed to report wonderful news. Production of the superior species of Las Plagas is officially underway. If all goes accordingly, rest assured that we will reach our ultimate goal. The plague is a truly magnificent organism. It has the capacity to live in any vertebrate, be it human, dog, or even crow. There's no other parasite like it on Earth. Superior species is particularly impressive as it can assimilate with a host without causing any damage to the brain. No one can oppose the strength of your dominance, my lord. On the contrary, who would resist once they experience the utter joy that accompanies the absence of free will? I am living proof how ignorant I once was. Well, in a few days, Excuse me. I will have finished administrating the plaga to all the high-ranking researchers, and then they, too, shall know. And then your plan is complete. The whole world shall know. Annabelle. Oh, Ana. Garcia Escudero. She was the first one. Supposedly. Annabella la plaga. Annabella las plagas. Plagabella. Are they going to follow me? Per your request, redevelopment of the island is well underway. Weapons and other defensive equipment have been set up to guard against any outside intruders. By the time we are finished, the island will be a giant fortress. These defenses won't hold up long term, but they should last until we carry out our plan. Jack Krauser, and once accomplished, we will be that much closer to our ultimate goal of world domination. None will be able to resist our power. That sound is annoying. Oh, that's what it is. They saw me? Fiteiro. Oiro. Portanto, aquilo foi a melhor rota para fazer este campsite. Por baixo ia-me só foder. But am I supposed to? I'm very confused. Sorry. Gloria a las plagas. Ok. Estou a ficar perto do Crozonice. Operation Javier. Few people have heard the name, even within the highest ranks of the US government. And little wonder too, the operation was not made public. Wait, what? It was conducted in secret and then buried. The reason being, it was too inhumane. It all started back in 2002, when a small unit of US Special Forces was sent to infiltrate an area in South America. Their mission was to eradicate the drug cartels. The whole operation took several years to prepare for, and only the most elite soldiers were selected to participate. I don't know if the mission was a failure or not, but I do know the fate of those elite soldiers once it was over. Apparently, the entire unit was wiped out except for the commanding officer, Major whatever, and not by the cartels, but by the US. It shouldn't have been difficult to extract a single stranded unit. All it would have taken was a single helicopter, but for some reason the military didn't act. Rumors say that the decision was the outcome of a power struggle among the top brass. Others say it was a directive from the former president himself. But we may never know the truth since it was all covered up. But I'm certain of one thing: the US government let those people die. Brave young people who dedicated their lives to protect their country. I want to expose this crime, not because it's my responsibility as a reporter, but because it's my duty as a fellow American. This document concerns Operation Javier. It was written by an American journalist named whatever. This article will never be published. It has already been taken care of. Yikes. Is that me? It's kind of fucked. Whoa. That's blood?
You've done well to make it this far, rookie. I've prepared a battlefield up ahead just for us soldiers. Watered by the blood of generations, hundreds of years. It's the perfect place to put an end to what happened 2 years ago.
That's crazy. Ashley Graham's abduction. Phase 1. Depart from campus with the target. Escort the target as usual until the start of Phase 2. There should be 3 others inside the vehicle, including Baker. Abel's unit will follow behind you in a separate vehicle. Continue to drive your normal route. Stop the vehicle under the pretense of engine trouble. Transfer the target to Abel's vehicle. Abel's unit will change course. Subdue and restrain the target. Place the target in a large container. Baker's unit will create a diversion. Henry's unit will infiltrate the investigations database and disable their network. Meet at point K9 and transfer the cargo onto the ship. Okay. That's a lot of blood. I have no more handgun. Por uma bala, será que vale a pena? Eu acho que sim. Acho que sim que vale a pena. He really did prepare a battlefield. Hello.
You have the stench of battle on you, mate.
How is this possible? Wait, hold on.
Welcome. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. Thank you. Good as new. That's good work, if I do say so myself.
Oi, acho que está mais barato. Ah, não é a mesma coisa.
Your weapons are in good hands, mate. I'll see you right.
I wanted to buy this.
What you see is what I've got. Bigger is better, as they say. Or at least I thought so when I was a lad. Information is a commodity these days. So, which weapon will you be given a shine to? Give us a shout when you want to tune it up.
I want to give it to this one.
You have a ticket, do ya? Nice. Choose a weapon. It doesn't get any better than that. It's a veritable work of art, mate.
I have a super pistol.
Anything else I can help you with? Pleasant travels.
Whoa, a max health. Eu não comprei a... Eu comprei? Tinha ideia que não comprei o Heavy Grenade. Mas o jogo diz-me que comprei. Vou continuar a ver este vídeo. Estou muito cansado.
Water's not a thing. Building is extremely bare bones and done through a tiny menu. You also have endless zombies and occasionally dragons trying to kill you. There's several modes here. You've got creative, so you can build little contraptions to try and defend yourself from the creatures of the night, but being honest, it's all quite a bit lackluster. But at $2, this thing was hitting a very specific niche market and hitting it well. Specifically the kids and tweens too young for Call of Duty who also couldn't play Minecraft. I love the fact that your Xbox 360 avatars are used on the console version. They look so goofy running around with big guns and giant pickaxes. Steam obviously doesn't have that, so instead you've got yourself a generic military man, or four of them showing off bullets or doing whatever this is. There's a bunch of tools and guns to collect and craft with higher numbers depending on the minerals you find, but it's all just skirting the surface in depth. There are random boxes of loot which do help with the zombie thing, but it's kind of just this. Not that I was expecting to have my tits blown off by Castle Miner Z, but still. Apparently by the end of its lifespan, it sold over 1.5 million copies, along with the original passing a mill, so it just goes to show that being an opportunist sometimes pays off. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing video essays from kids called Castle Miner Z was better than Minecraft in the next 5 years.
Hey, yeah, cool.
Nowadays, the zombie genre of games has calmed down quite a bit from the initial craze, but time's a flat circle, and I could really do with a new crafting zombie game right about now. It's really too bad that there aren't any other like crafting zombie survival games to talk about. We'll come back to zombies again, I'm sure, but I think it's really important to look at Minecraft's more direct influences. This can go one of two ways. There's the survival crafting genre, which would really begin to take off over the next few years, but like more directly, you would start to see a lot more things using voxels. And that makes sense. The 3D voxel was by no means a new thing, but you definitely saw a lot more of these coming out after Minecraft. The first video game to use this visual style was a little DOS thing called Comanche Maximum Overkill. Voxels distilled down to their most basic concept are 3D pixel cubes on a grid that's viewable in a three-dimensional space. There's a lot that goes into this, but it's essentially a way of viewing 3D graphics. There's a lot of games out there using them that you'd probably never notice either. So yeah, it may not be the first, but it would be dishonest to say that Minecraft wasn't responsible for the massive uptick in video games throwing perfect cubes at me. And in the early 2010s, there were a lot. Like Ace of Spades. It combined the building sandbox and mining of Mojang's big hit, but with one kicker: Team Deathmatch. Oh, and guns. This was originally released as a small prototype alpha that made waves on various message boards and got a lot of notoriety. While the building aspects were extremely minimal, it was definitely cool to be digging and creating your own trenches and forts in a first-person shooter setting. It reminded me a lot of Tribes 2's construction mode, but a little more grounded. The pace slower, the feeling of a battle taking shape over a good amount of time. It needed teamwork and strategy, something a lot of shooters in that era didn't have. The problem is that this unfinished beta was so well received that some bigger corporation was gonna try and do a little acquiring. And who better than Jagex, the developer of RuneScape? Yes, buying GF RuneScape. So what happened was, this little free thing with 500,000 monthly players was left unfinished in favor of a brand new title costing $10 that said, what if we go full on Twitchy shooter and that was that. I think the original being free helped it a lot, but audiences sorely rejected this new Jagex version of Ace of Spades, and it pretty quickly found itself without a player base. On top of that, Jagex went ahead and released another game that was very similar, Block and Load. It's not even just the concept, even the logo is cool. Basically the same. The free-to-play Block and Load was received a bit better, even if it was just a shinier version of the bastardization of Ace of Spades. Though it seems, no matter how far we get from Minecraft, you're still not going to be able to escape those blocky trees. There's a Block and Load 2 coming out too, but unfortunately, Ace of Spades was shut down in 2019 as that original audience just didn't gel with it. However, it seems like guns, crafting, and cubes are a match made in heaven, as we're seeing a lot of these. Like Guncraft, a game with a huge player base. Guncraft is one of those countless blocky shooty things that would come out in the early 2010s, and it had some pretty decent ideas. You shoot stuff, you build stuff, and try to survive blocky modern warfare. The character models look like Chad versions of Minecraft Steve. Really, this whole thing looks like something I'd conjure up while disassociating. It had a small cult player base for a bit, and you'd think they'd stop selling this thing considering you can't properly play it anymore as the servers are offline, but no, you can still buy it. Same with Murder Miners, the #1 rated Xbox Live indie game. According to who, I'm not sure, but the developer sure just wanted to mash Halo and Minecraft together. Some of the quotes in the official trailer are hilarious, like Murder Miners is the savior of the FPS genre. Big words for a game with a $5 4-pack. This one actually isn't terrible. Like, you'd never play this over hundreds of other FPSs, but it feels competent enough to have fun with friends for a few rounds. The best part is building a map in multiplayer and then immediately playing some deathmatch on it, even if the map totally sucks and you keep spawning off the edge. That's my fault though. I'm still not really sure why this whole shooter Minecraft combination of things was so popular in quotations for a while, and I don't think the voxel gun love story is gonna end anytime soon. Though nowadays it seems like we're leaning more into the Counter-Strike Roblox fusion babies with Krunker. How about Cube World Survival, a hit Steam release that literally won't come up with anything for me on YouTube? Look, if you search up the tag voxel on Steam, you're gonna find endless things like this. I'm not gonna sit here and say that every game with guns and voxels is a Minecraft clone, because it definitely isn't. However, you can't convince me that they weren't trying to do that for a very specific reason. Stepping away from those masterpieces, let's tone it down a bit. Now, big 3D blocks and voxels aren't gonna be just restricted to blasting and crafting. We would also go underground, like really deep underground, with something like Eldritch. I remember Eldritch coming out and buying it day one because the concept alone was cool to me. It's a roguelike dungeon crawler with a Lovecraftian twist. It also looked extremely similar to that signature Minecraft style, and in 2013, that wasn't very common outside of the sandbox experiences. I mean, if I see a picture of you holding a pickaxe, looking at cubes that you can hit with the pickaxe, you're just telling on yourself. This thing was cool though. I'm not much of a horror guy, as some of y'all know, but for some reason I can handle the Lovecraft side of things. And to be fair, putting these crazy looking fishmen in a setting like this really tones down the spookiness. You go level to level getting weapons, powers, and dungeon diving in order to find relics to find your way out of the nightmare world. It's not too terribly long, but for a little PC indie, it has a lot to like. Also, some of these block textures are so close, it's not even funny. At a certain point, Minecraft looking games really became a choose your own adventure type of thing. No matter the setting, you could find yourself doing some mining, crafting, and in some cases, fighting dragons. You could go medieval with Block Story, which still to this day has a small running community, or take it above the atmosphere into uncharted space with Xenominer. There's even the 3DS exclusive Cube Creator 3D, which actually came out several years before the official Mojang port. You'd be totally forgiven in mistaking this one for the official release. Unfortunately, a lot of these are no longer available due to the eShop and the 360 Xbox Live Indie Game Store getting shut down and delisted. You know, the 2020 problems. Speaking of totally mistaking a game for another, have you ever wondered what Minecraft would be like if it went like full in on the survival mechanics? Well, you'd get something called Vintage Story, a game that looks very similar to Minecraft. Which makes sense considering it has roots as a Minecraft mod called Vintage Craft. Vintage Story takes everything you know about that survival mode and pumps it up to 11. You enter this world and have to get to building your first shelter and hunting food, but this thing has a much harder start. In Minecraft, you'd punch a tree, make some sticks, and have yourself a mini fort in 5 minutes. Vintage Story has you literally grabbing loose stones to then start napping off the edges to create tools. Firewood only lasts a short amount of time, the durability is a lot harsher, culture. It's what I think a lot of people wanted the survival mode in Minecraft to be, but it never really became. You also have to battle the elements with gear to survive different seasons. The winters are harsh and cold, you can't go crops for several in-game days, and it brings a different gameplay loop to what you would expect from something like this. It leans a little closer into the modern sandbox survival games like Sons of the Forest, which I'm sure we'll talk about some of those later. But watching the voxel plants move rapidly with harsh winds was something that I didn't know I was interested in seeing. There's a lot of really small cool touches. I obviously didn't have time to get too far into a world myself for this video, but everything I've seen from other videos and heard about from friends seems incredibly engaging in a way that you don't see too often these days. For newbies, there is a guide built into the game, so you're not totally lost and forced to stare at wikis all day. But for those seeking a greater challenge than basic survival mode, Vintage Story really hits that itch. I just hope they don't add Far Cry 2 malaria mechanics. Now, Vintage Story might kind of look like it, but what about the games that are actively trying to trick you into thinking you're playing with Minecraft Steve? Anyone who's ever browsed the mobile app stores knows exactly what I'm talking about. Multicraft Build and Mine, Blockcraft 3D building game, Craft Earthboy, Worldcraft Block Craftsman, HD Craft 3D Ultra Realistic G, developed by a company called Bad Review Games, which kinda says it all. I literally can't find the end of these straight up ripoffs on the app stores, so we're not gonna get too much into it. But prior to Minecraft getting its proper $6.99 mobile version, these things were popping up everywhere. Looks like Minecraft Dungeons got clones now too. I mean, look at Blockman Go. Yo, this is just a freaking treasure trove of copyright infringement. Oh my god. Anyways, let's talk about a game that was once upon a time one of the rare Wii U exclusives. Cube Life Island Survival. Sure, it's not as sought after as like Twilight Princess HD, but unlike that, it does feature full voice acting.
Pigs and chicken are a good source for food. If I combine
Some
2
pause.
sticks and 3 planks, I could create a pickaxe.
Select coconut and press the key to drink.
Yes, this is real. Cube Life Island Survival is frankly bizarre. It got a PC port a few years back, and it's a strange attempt at combining Minecraft with Lost. You start the game shipwrecked and have to do the survival thing on an island, living your life amongst the cubes. This thing really looks like someone made a Minecraft and Unreal 5 4K type of video, except it's real, and as I'm sure you can parse, not very good. Resource grinding might be a big part of this entire genre, but Cube Life takes that to another level. For example, in order to just make a bed, you need a blanket, a pillow, and a mattress. Each of those requires several pieces of stuffed leather, which require several more pieces of boar leather. So just to sleep, you're gonna need 11 stuffed leather, which is 33 boar leather, plus an additional 4 for the pillow. You start off on this tiny island, and boars don't drop leather 100% of the time, so yeah, I stopped playing because that's stupid. Enjoy running around at night when it's so dark you can barely see anything. But at least it did give us this.
I must drink something as soon as possible. I'm gonna break open some coconuts over there.
Look, there's a lot of these little indies made just trying to make a quick buck, and I can't blame them. But I think I want to move on because first off, we would be here all day, and I would run out of things to say. So let's move on to something a bit more interesting. With Minecraft came early access and Kickstarter, and with both of those came big public stinky failures, like Yog Ventures. Now, that's a spicy one. Yog Ventures was a Kickstarter project helmed by popular YouTube channel Yogscast that had the misfortune of being one of the poster children for failed projects. Next to Project Phoenix, of course. I'm still waiting. Yog Ventures wanted to expand on the crafting and mining experience that Minecraft had and take things to another level of visual fidelity and, well, offer adventures, whatever that means. There's a huge story here, and others have compiled it way better than I could in a video like this, but essentially, they brought on a small developer called Wintercool Games who ran out of the Kickstarter money. The project kind of fizzled out over time, the developer shut down, and that'd be that. Yogscast did offer keys to another Kickstarter project named Tug, which is now also no longer available, so it just all seems like a huge mess that everyone's trying to distance themselves from. Which, I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. This probably didn't help. Next up, Cube World. No, not Cube World Survival, simply Cube World. Less of a direct Minecraft
Hey,
clone
looks
and more of
cute.
a combination of its style with something like The Legend of Zelda or MMOs like World of Warcraft. Cube World was an extremely ambitious title that upon its initial alpha reveal made a bunch of waves over the internet, but kind of faded out over time before its eventual release, where it was then noticeably different and ultimately not what the players wanted. When Cube World's alpha hit the net in 2013, it kind of felt like this would be the next big thing. Like you were playing an action RPG that was thrown into someone's Minecraft world. You had different classes, lots of gear, pets, tons of abilities. It was a game for people who love adventure, especially since you could play with friends. Those initial few months created a lot of buzz, but after a DDoS attack targeted the developer's website, purchases were turned off, updates slowed down majorly, and then eventually radio silence. The thing eventually came out in 2019, much different from its original preview, and for a lot of people, significantly worse. The final product is really strange. There's not much to guide you on what to do, and for something that wants you to fight enemies to get gear to become stronger, you're sure gonna get two-shot left and right out of the gate. Cube World lacks direction, and this whole story, like Yog Ventures, is more of a tragedy than a comedy. There is a modding scene trying to make things more playable, but Cube World's always gonna be something of a what if. A lot of voxel-based crafting and mining games have gone through the whole early access shtick to various results, so we'll keep it brief. Although I think we're all still missing out on Hytale. The fact that the reveal trailer has over 60 million views now kinda says it all. Hytale is the Half-Life 3 of Minecraft clones. This thing started similarly to Vintage Story as a Minecraft multiplayer server named Hypixel. The main difference is that that studio was then acquired by Riot Games, has a several $million investment, and they're taking their time to make something that frankly does look pretty awesome. As of 2023, there's still no word on this being playable anytime soon, but I think we'd all rather them take their time and create something that'll make a huge impact. Or maybe the third impact.
Hytale.
Minecraft was one of the first modern survival crafting experiences out there, and it has had quite the impact. It's been surprisingly absent from consoles for the most part, but any PC gamer is very well aware of the open world survival crafting genre. One that is still extremely popular to this day, that's kind of like Sailor Moon with its villain of the week thing. They're also the video game equivalent of crack, like Sons of the Forest. There's nothing about this that inherently screams Minecraft clone, but so many mechanics of resource gathering, building, and survival are rooted in the cubes. There's obviously nothing with the same popularity as Mojang's Behemoth at all, but there's definitely a lot of what I'm calling Minecraft alternatives. When the gaming industry realized that humans haven't evolved much from babies, and we still, in fact, love playing in the sandboxes, the gates opened up. We yearned for the mines. Bigger developers and publishers wanted in on those sweet inbucks, and nothing was gonna stop them. The first I remember was a little game called Trove by Tryon Worlds. The people behind Rift and Defiance, rest in peace. I played the free-to-play Trove around its launch and thought it was neat, but fell off immediately. I mean, it's a free-to-play MMO. It has Minecraft building and crafting mechanics, but really turned for the worse over time. They leaned into the generic MMORPG thing pretty hard, and it's nearly unrecognizable from launch. Now you're running around fighting monsters, doing random dungeons, participating in its battle royale mode, and spending a very minimal amount of time assembling cubes. It's a shame. A much better example of a Minecraft alternative would be something like Creativeverse, developed by Playful Corp, the people who brought us Super Lucky's Tale. Creativeverse is, as you see on the screen, exactly what it looks like. It had a bit of a controversy as it used to be free to play, but recently swapped to a full pay-to-play model, removing it from people who had it already. And if you didn't pay, they were also gonna remove worlds that were already built, and so hey, that's not great. I do think that it's a very solid Minecraft clone though. You swap between the first and third person using your weapons, and a lot of things have a sense of familiarity while being slightly different as well. I like how much faster you can mine. It's got a nice vibe to it, but if we're being real, I think it might be dead. This thing originally launched in early access in 2014 and then became pay to play in 2022, which is not only a bizarre decision, but is almost a decade old. There's a few hundred daily players, but it's a far cry from its peak. It's all about those Robux now. Also, I respect y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and call Terraria a Minecraft clone, even though it's extremely similar in its gameplay structure. Just a little bit more combat. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when this thing was using Final Fantasy V sprites. It's come a long way. At a certain point, the Minecraft clone began to intersect with farming and life sims, and things really began to explode. Games like Staxel, Boundless, Lego Worlds, 7 Days to Die, and Portal Knights all definitely family went to the same middle school, is all I'm saying. This goes all the way up to things published on the largest of stages with No Man's Sky. A controversial pick for sure, but one that takes the basis of something that existed before it and literally flew into space. This thing has its own legacy of becoming the comeback kid of video games, and it's still to this day getting huge updates. I mean, not even a month ago. Jeez. So what happens when you put famous, well-loved developer Arc System Works on the table? Yeah, like Guilty Gear Arc Sys.
Wait,
Well,
what?
You get Cube Creator X. Y'all remember that
I'm
3DS
confused.
game from earlier? Well, its developer, Big John Games, decided to team up with Arc Sys in order to make this thing for the Switch and eventually PC. Cube Creator X
What
is a
the
title
fuck?
with 0 Steam reviews that totally works on my PC. That sounds lovely. But it doesn't seem to have much better luck on the Switch, according to the official trailer showing the frame rate getting absolutely demolished. Creator X is fine. It follows the genre tropes with little zones you can go through while collecting and crafting stuff, but also has a hub world with quests you can accept. You play as a little block dude that you can customize, the interface works well and is familiar. It was designed to be a budget title, so it's not really pushing any boundaries, like at all. In fact, the only difference from Minecraft is that it uses more rounded shapes and is less of a sandbox and more of an objective-based experience. Not bad, not great, but a decent Minecraft alternative for the kids who are painfully addicted to the concept.
Jiggly jiggly, I'm coming for the booty.
It does have multiplayer, but I doubt I'll be able to get anyone to play this with me, especially if you take a look at the user-created content section, which as of today has literally nothing in it, despite coming out several years ago with an all-time peak of 3 players. That is really sad and unfortunate, but it's also just the fate for a lot of these Minecraft clones, rip-offs, and alternatives. One game is just so domineering over the entire genre that it's just kind of hard to squeeze in there. But there was one big publisher who gave it a shot. Now, when you think of like AAA trend hoppers, you typically think of companies like Ubisoft, EA, but no, this time it was Square Enix. And not just one, but 2 different games. Look, I'm just trying to say I don't think anyone expected Dragon Quest Builders. As it turns out, this was a fantastic idea. The original came out on PlayStation 3, 4, Vita, and Switch, while the sequel's available everywhere, and these 2 titles have a lot of heart. The concept is simple, the world needs a fixin'. You're a legendary builder, help rebuild the world. The original takes place in an alternate ending to the original Dragon Quest, and the sequel follows
cool.
the second game. Both of these are pretty solid, but I mostly play the sequel for this video. Why? Game Pass, baby. Builders takes the concepts of Minecraft and rolls with them in a way that is really easy to understand. Recipes are done more similarly to the modern version of crafting in these games, and gathering is usually pretty quick. I mean, you'll smack things 1 or 2 times with a stick and have new stuff in your inventory. You place blocks, build arrangements, make houses and towns, and do your best to restore the world to its former glory. But you don't just have building and crafting, we've also got leveling up and fighting. Builders kind of leans a little more into something like Dark Cloud or ActRaiser at times, where you'll be responsible for pre-configs for story, as well as having the freedom to do whatever you want. But there's also waves of enemies to fight, and you'll have to beef up your village to defend themselves. Yes, you can arm your villagers, which also means boss encounters can totally destroy everything you've built. Yay. The one major differing factor is that both builders do follow a central narrative with levels. The first game literally yeets you out of an area when you finished it, but 2 allows you to go back and see how things develop over time. It follows more of a traditional RPG structure while having all of those blocky crafting elements as the main mechanic, and I think it pulls it off spectacularly. Everything but the multiplayer anyways. Unfortunately, since this thing is story driven, whenever you join up with your friends, which takes like 7 hours by the way, all progress is tied to the host. So you know, it's one of those. Granted, you can have a good time running around with buds, smashing, crafting, and building, but in order for them to take it to the next level in the future, I'd want to see a fully co-op campaign. That being said, I think both Dragon Quest Builders titles are great little Minecraft-inspired alternatives. Not quite clones, because there's elements here that pull from all over the place. It's unmistakably Dragon Quest, and while that seems to be met with a meh kind of reaction in the West, you can't tell me this Super Saiyan Gohan looking ass main character doesn't have charm. So, anyways, when's Minecraft 2? So there you have it, the forgotten and still growing world of Minecraft clones. Now there are so many of these that I didn't tackle because a lot of them are very similar. So I tried to keep it brief, but if there are some things that you think I missed that are worth talking about, let me know down in the comments. You know the shtick. It seems like a lot of these, especially things leaning into the survival crafting genre, are kind of flavor of the week, and that's okay, because not everything needs to be a forever game. Sometimes you want to go really hard on Valheim for a couple weeks and then just step away. If y'all liked the video, check out today's sponsor or one of the many links down below. We actually just hit 250,000 subscribers, which is a ridiculous amount of people, and I am eternally grateful, like actually. Support with like Patreon, YouTube memberships, or buying t-shirts goes a long way, but also just being here and watching me is more than anyone could ask for. Thank you so much. Anyways, I've been Austin, and I'm gonna step outside because I feel like I can only see in three-dimensional cubes. So catch me next time when we talk about something a bit more rounded. Thank you so much for watching. Special Patreon shout out to Aaron Kwolek, Blackfoot Ferret, Blake Thomas, Cheeks, Chris Shelton, Doug Prince, DX Buster, David Molnar, Elijah, GM Pinks, Hey Quiggles, Jay Roos, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Kevin Zanowski, Karen Arter, Nick Irving, Orion Talbert, and The Box. Thank you so much for your generous support. When I started this channel, the idea of doing a Minecraft clones video was not something I had thought of, but here we are, and there's enough for a full video, so I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna have a lot of things coming out in May, so stay tuned for that. Should have something next week. I've been a little busy with some real stuff, but I will be opening up the Discord for public usage soon in a limited format. You guys will see what I'm talking about. I'd say look at my Twitter, but now I have zero searchability because it's pay to win, and I won't. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.